Alright, so our next step in this process is we're going to go ahead and add questions. Okay, so this is what your question screen looks like. Okay, your question title is where you're going to actually write your question. Your help text would be for any additional information that you need your students to know. So if you want them to make sure that they choose the best answer, if a lot of them sound right, that would be a good one. Or if you're doing math problems and you want to make sure that they include their decimals or any other useful information that you think that they would need. Okay? Question type, that's where you can choose what type of question you're going to have, whether it be multiple choice or those kind of things. Let's take a look at those real quick. Okay, so text is going to give you an actual text box that they can type in. Okay, paragraph text is going to give you more of a text box that's larger that they can type like a paragraph in. Multiple choice would be what it sounds like. Check boxes is where that's one you would use if you want them to have more than one answer. Choose from a list is like multiple choice, but instead of having all of the options visible at once, the list is more of a drop down that they choose from. Okay. Scale would be them rating themselves on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. Grid would be more of a grid template, and then you can also collect date and time. Okay. Now you have a couple of buttons over here. This is your editing button, so when you click on it, then your question opens back up so you can edit. Okay, this is your duplicate button, so this would be a good button to use if you're making if a lot of your questions have the same answer choices and you don't want to retype those every time. You can click on this duplicate button and it'll duplicate that question for you. Okay, and this trash button will go ahead and get rid of your question. Okay, now down here, this is one of the absolute most important buttons where it says required question. And this is very, very, very important to check, because if you do not check it, then students will be able to submit the form without actually answering all of the questions. Okay, and once you go ahead and make it required, you'll notice now your question has this little red star, and that's just a visual to you that yes, you have indeed made it a required question. Okay, so now once you go ahead and got all your questions on there, then you click on View Live Form, and that will show you what your form is going to look like for your students.